Skugtash, good day. My name is Waveline Romero, currently the Tohono Nation Vice Chairwoman. It's an honor to be here today at KOHN. Skugtash abusamui Tohono Humachkam sapintat kmanya haichu gititashkach kamo haichu shahut saboy apanyamjit mo haschu oichu gamamwojit mon humum ta as the Vice Chairwoman of Tohono Nation. I come from the community of Anagam, Sifoidic District. I'm married to Leonard Romero. My mother is Cecilia Ventura. I've served about 20 years to the Tohono Nation in various capacities. At a very young age, I was exposed to tribal politics. I remember at a very young age having to attend community meetings with my mother and my grandfather at the time, and really having to sit through community meetings and understand at a young age what politics was about. And so at a young age, I started off as a community representative for Anagam community. And so I was able to be a part of the Sifoidic District Council. At that particular time, I began to really understand and educate myself and be the vocal representative for my community. And I was very interested in it, and at that time I always thought to myself that I would like to, always be involved in politics for my community and for my family, and really understanding it. And so at that point in time, I had just graduated from high school at the Tohono High School in San Simon, and at the time I graduated in 91, I was a parent of a son and a daughter. And I decided that I needed to higher my education, and I went off to Pima Community College, and my field of degree was nursing. And I always knew that I wanted to work somewhere on the nation in serving the O'odham people. So I did that. I went off and I went to school and came back. At the time, we didn't have the nursing home that we do have today. And I had the opportunity to be employed and work as a home health aide. And in this particular job, I was able to provide and visit elders and O'odham members with disabilities in their homes and provide home care to those. That was a great experience and a very rewarding thing to do, and to be able to provide and be a part of serving this particular different generation of O'odham people. And at that time, I had a family, and I really enjoyed, traveling various communities throughout the nation. And so, there were other opportunities that I had as an O'odham woman. And I always knew that, there was a lot of work out there, and there's so many opportunities that young members of our O'odham nation had. And so I pursued looking into other ventures, and I got involved with the home-based program under the education department and became a home-based teacher. Covered the areas from Newfields to Tapawa. For that area, they didn't have a Head Start program for the children ages 2 to 5. And so I had the opportunity to also work with the young children in that area, and again expose myself to that part of the reservation and its uniqueness, being close to the border. That in itself was also a very rewarding experience, having the opportunity to work with children at such a young age. And, I was raised by my mom as a single parent, and, always around my grandparents and my uncles and my aunts. And, the O'odham language was always used. And so I was really been blessed for having the opportunity and the knowledge to speak the O'odham language. And so I am fluent in the O'odham language, and every opportunity I get, I use my O'odham language throughout my travels among my family and my district, serving the nation, and just being out and about, on and off the reservation, to really take pride in the O'odham language in itself. And it's never too late for O'odham people, regardless of your age or what your upbringing was, to really embrace the O'odham himdag and the language, because that's a strength that I have, and I value that very, very much. And so during the time that I had the opportunity to work with the young children, I always had the interest in politics. And so I went to run for the Sephardic District Vice Chairwoman, and we were elected with then Chair Nina Jose from North Comlick, and we successfully completed a 4-year term. And that provided me the opportunity to provide direct political power and authorities and serving the Sephardic District. And it was a really great experience for a woman and a woman at my age. And I always, with the utmost respect, provided the quality of services and, outreach to my district at that point in time. After that, the Tohono O'odham Nation is comprised of a 3-branch government, the executive, legislative, and judicial. And I started to look into what the judicial branch was all entailed. And so I sought employment there after I left the Sephardic District as the vice chair, completed my term. And I took a little break, and then I decided that, I wanted to explore working for the judicial branch. And so I did apply, and I was hired there as a community service supervisor, and had the opportunity to be an adult probation officer, which I also did. Under the judicial branch, it provided me an opportunity to create a relationship and a line of communication for the adults that have entered the judicial system, and really had an opportunity to get to know adult members, and providing them the guidance and the opportunity to straighten out their lives, and in really looking at what was important to them. And while I was there at adult probation, I decided that I wanted to seek the legislative portion of it, and so I campaigned, and I did. I was successful in obtaining the legislative seat representing Sephardic District, which I completed 1 term, 4 years, and then I went on for a 2nd term. During my 2nd term, I served 2 years when I was asked by Chairman Norris to consider running with him as the team ticket for the nation's chair and vice chair seat, in which I did, and which brings me to today. We've completed a 4-year term as chair and vice chair of the Tohono O'odham Nation. As an O'odham woman, I'm a very respectful, patient woman, and the uniqueness of a woman being, in any leadership role is very critical to the O'odham members that I represent, and all the women, all the young women that have goals and have a vision to be successful in their life. And it's not any different for me. That as a young girl, I always knew that I wanted to be successful, and that every individual, every young woman, every adult woman, every elder woman, has a heart that is very unique. And so the strengths that we have as women, it's really important to be a part of, the line of communication. And when it comes to decision making, it comes to representing the O'odham people, being at the table because of our strengths, the vision, and pretty much the what the thoughts are, the heart part of it. As a woman has really been a rewarding part for me, to really having the voice and the aspects of what a woman's belief and strengths are. I've had that opportunity in all my various employments and as in tribal politics. So I really am blessed with that. And, I've always had faith in myself and the people that give, in elected positions, give people the opportunity to serve. And although this job, as a tribal leader, it doesn't come easy. There are challenges, of course, in any job, in any role that you have, whether you're male or female. But it's having that open line of communication and really taking to heart before decisions are made, and really looking at, what is in the best interest of the O'odham people. All the jobs and everything that I do today has always been about the O'odham people, not about myself. And I know that as Chairman Norris, giving me the opportunity and having faith in working alongside by him has really taught me a lot, has really made me to be respectful. I really want to acknowledge that although we are the chair and vice chair of the nation, and we have our tribal leadership, the legislative, but most importantly, the employees of the nation, they have to be acknowledged for all the work and the efforts that they provide to the Tohono O'odham nation and its members. Without them, the nation would not be successful. There are so many times that, there is a need for improvement, and there's a lot more yet to be done. And we really have to respect and have faith in these employees and the programs that are out there. And I will acknowledge that there is room for improvement, and there is some weaknesses in some of those programs, but nonetheless, we have to be respectful and mindful of what that approach is going to be, because they are the key members of our nation that are out there among the people. And I know that as a tribal leader, being the advocate for all of our members, regardless of gender or age, that it's important to always be respectful and to always be patient and mindful of how we deliver services, of how we interact with our members, and how we present ourselves. Integrity is very key to all leaderships, all employees, and everyone that is out there to serve the people. And yes, we are all entitled to our personal opinions and our opinions of what's not happening on the nation. And that's fine. It's constructive criticism, and always the need to have that open dialogue. And we are always open to taking recommendations or suggestions when there's need for improvement in all of our departments. For the Tohono O'odham Nation, the various programs and departments that we do have currently serving the Tohono O'odham Nation, just to name a few, for the health department, we know that health is very important to all of our nation's members, and we have a department and we have employees that are out, every employee and is out and hired to provide, based on their education and their expertise, key services to our O'odham people. And many of you may be asking yourself, what has Chairman Norris and Vice Chairman Waverly Romero done for the Tohono O'odham Nation? And I'm here to tell you that we've put a lot of hard work, and we've been very committed to the Tohono O'odham Nation. And although you don't see buildings and, a per cap, I assure you that we have worked very diligently and very hard to create positive line of communication with the leadership, the Legislative Council, and also the key entities on the nation to help improve the services that they are here for, for the housing in regards to, addressing housing, really, rather than invest in a whole department and infrastructure, to really create that relationship with the housing entity, because their expertise is addressing housing. Although the fund that they currently survive on, which is the HUD funding, there definitely is room for improvement to expand their services in regards to housing. And so we want to acknowledge that we are communicating with that particular department and hoping to very soon improve the housing needs and address the housing needs for all of the O'odham who much come on and off the reservation. So in regards to health, we know that we have employees that are out serving in various capacities, and the need to be out in the communities is very crucial. And I know that we could have, various education services, and the need for these programs to be out among the community and the O'odham people in the communities is very key and very important. And we've been reiterating to the various programs within the health department the need to be visible in the community, regardless of, size or location of the communities. And so all in all, that the improved health services are a must to be out in the communities. One of the things recently that the health department, when we talk about education and health, there was not long ago that there's a curriculum that was introduced to the BIE schools, which is culturally appropriate. And when we talk about culture and education, it's really educating the young children at the BIE schools, and this is Santa Rosa Ranch, Santa Rosa Boarding School, San Simon, Tohono High School, the curriculum in introducing, and reiterating the importance of healthy lifestyles for the young children. And so the DETS program, the diabetes education, has been introduced to these schools. And so it's really key that not only as teachers and educators that we promote, wellness among our children, but also at home, the things that parents and family members can do to promote, wellness for our children. We need them to be happy. We need them to have rest and have a decent meal and the infrastructure of a family to be able to be successful when they are put on the bus to go to school. In regards to, another department under the Tohono executive branch is the Natural Resource Department. You know that the federal government, there's a law called the NAGPRA, which is the Native American Repatriation Act. The Tohono Nation, we've had numerous, over the years, we've had so many reburials where we have the opportunity to bring our ancestors home. And this event is a nation's event, out of respect to take care of our hohokam and our ancestors and bringing them home and in the utmost respectful way to address those and having a proper burial for these hohokam. And so that's something that we've been involved in for many years, and it's up to all of the nations, whether you're a leader, a community member, or Tohono Nation member, to be involved and pay your respects in regards to being involved in the reburials that are held every year. And also another key part of the Natural Resource Department, when we talk about cultural awareness, the department does hold cultural awareness trainings for various agencies that come and serve the Tohono people, whether they're tribal or BIA, federal programs, employees, and different individuals that come onto the nation for various reasons, various projects. The cultural awareness training is provided and available to them. Also, under the, we've just had the Tohono Nation have the longest Native American rodeo and fair event, and we just had that again, Hamoshai, the end of January. And, there's a lot of work that goes into planning that particular event, and, again, always room for improvement. And we know that this event is held, to acknowledge the rodeo fans and all the competitors that come out. As a Tohono tribal rodeo, we take pride in the event in itself, and again, always room for improvement in looking at that, and we try to make this a success and looking at different ways to improve the rodeo, and nonetheless that it's an event that's held to entertain not only the Tohono Hamachkam, but all natives that are traveling various rodeos. And for some, we know that it's a career when they compete in that, and so looking at different ways and incentives to be more inviting to our event. Recently, the Human Resource Office became a department of the Tohono Nation, and the Human Resource Office is the office, key office of where employment for the executive branch happens. And it's been a long time since improvement within that particular department, and we do have a director on board who reports directly to Chairman Norris and myself, and really looking at different ways to improve employment, the hiring for the Tohono O'odham people. And I know that many times over the years that it's been a program and not a department, and the need for improving it certainly is there. And there's a lot of assessment that is happening within that department to improve, that the shortening the time frame when someone puts in their application for hiring, and the jobs that are available and that are open to our members, really improving that portion of it. And when there's a hiring process, and the backgrounds and the morale of all our employees that serve the Tohono O'odham people is very important, because that makes a difference on how productive our employees are and promoting wellness. As an employee, we need to be healthy employees. In order to help others, we have to take care of ourselves. And so that's been one key part of that department, is to really address wellness for the employees, and being respectful of the duties of all our employees and what they bring to the Tohono O'odham Nation. And so, because it's a fairly new department of the Tohono O'odham Nation, there's a lot happening in that department in regards to streamlining and shortening the hiring process and the background process. And so we look forward to all those improvements for the Tohono O'odham Nation. And bashahu saboy ab amjidi da manyam hiasha haichu ba ma pumsa moy jabo ka shachum thugi matabju hasjum bom matam boju matmo skoka ma moy oi amamojit mo hia sasiga mapchuig ida chipkan mo hobichu da ka how much come pumps bi haichu nyet matam haichu ki o haichu bi nye ida riar ma bo ga 2000 per capita. Muka moi how much come at babo ka mat bia pu ju huge ka bia mo hai chup si huge mat mo si imchuk hababa sham ha Tohono O'odham how much come mo chimhoki da how much come hia ha chuk ta mui nan koi masma oi chuguk chip kan cha si has hai chu macha mapta boy stawach bohasit nach bi chmogi da khamach kam amachuk ta machas chu minan ko masma haichu chamia po chamia ga hawom idam mom tata mot go journey gidam of aga legislative council ida riar mop the marks ka Tohono O'odham corner mo pi achi mo sit up matas masma huka chugeriar machukit hasjo bitachu ab amjid ida riar thmo mo ha kom ma ida mo mnyuko de riar ko joni kitam ida mo si ha mo mnyuko ida riar masma ma apuchut matasju hasi masma mo hukaji de huge riar ko masma pchuik maptos amechu da thuke Cha huke amjit mata mui aidak manda bunju manyut pion hawujid ka Tohono O'odham how much come manyuk sko gam how much come hiawu much cook idam churchumar haba bunju come hus hi ihawum ta sias haichu manyuki da bihanye dam hiagok mo idam mot pion muhaji chip kana ka Tohono O'odham how much come anyap si has uri dap si pi ka uri to kukach mon smart mo has jubnakok chas jutach mon oyapo hashagi da how much come chum ihawu majab nan koi masma mo has jui ups amichut anyabash si pi ka uri idam chumhuki dam ihagok mo pasjum di hugi mo ihawu much idam pion mo muchut Tohono O'odham pion apashoche manya huke amjit manya dasha chihya manda bunju kap abi amuchi daim ida Tohono O'odham corner chipkan manya bunywa mandam shahu si tahewa hawujid ka si foidak chukshanuk for the district ame ki kam anagam manyut her representative jam hawujid hajonya gidit abai district council kamjid ame for the Sifoidek district vice chairman da apabunjuk Geek aidag NATO, sap NATO gun chipkan manyam hakusham as the vice chair. Tan hiasha husi hawum chipku ka radasiki nya banyak man sahid ida ha atam corners chipkan ka sapop cheg man sami church ban urit man da man moshanya apo pa nya sahid sami chut haba chmukidam masmap sami chut man pian urit ba kamach kama pa matagama wadarta Hagam tawadarta hagam bochemo aba ab wadart mat podi bisehas urit mat soamoy oi ida chipkan and the banju kam mukam sinyabam for the legislative council representative for Amesi Foidag district and si mui hai chubi mai kam ju woji de construction school kam ami oi hage chipkan the banju man matabun kaku ka net Norris man chas urit man ma won dayam hukajar saha kukach man mui hai chu bi mine mas amichud man ya manyod o cha haba udgi te gulkadak swacha da man don nako hukach macha achim up ibdak amjid mo si has hai chu matamo ama chug kamach kam mo has mas map utat ka how much come ox hasn't pa the women generation mo si has hai chugi ma chas masma binye chas hasi masma upichams agam ko has start kap amjit ab amjit ka nan ko mas hai chu matu dawusu tapadak cha pihobi pshain ag o pihogidap pshain ag mat pion nako kokach man chumhugi dam swachut mat pasjum di hugi hamo it mas chipkan mo kamach kam chumhukid ab ha mata wadarta smach mo sasigam up chuik smach mo moi ha tiambo up the book ba hugap sipik urit manya kamach kam amoji ra moi chugida nyap si has urit hage cha bihast ag matadi mai tayo kach matamo moi oik chipkan mat chumhukid kamach kam masachuk dot hugo si hasaichu mat mui aidak mat pihobihi man yaut ki kam tana tam jod an chumukidak amanya pianch amawoji de kanyamach kam nyabanyak na pi mo ido danki ant pihobiohi man chumukidak tam hamach kam up si hasa urit mo mui jak chipkan man mo hasi masma mo hawam nya masma bonyeri thamo mo ya hashka mui hai chup shachik mo chup chumt urit mat moi oi haba matamarsi ai haba pihasajo na pi apim bama chapiam urit mapudi hadi bi urit matamoy oi ida chipkan hugo si hasai chum maptawadar api de maniga hugi maptawadar hadi bi urit matamoy him chuk chipkan amamojit hugo si hugi maptamha wadar apim bama mapudi bi urit chabasham amat Josh chumuki da samhoigur ka masjum tugi amamojit ka chumuki da mam chuk da tambata jo matmoi haichu chumuki da api mamam chuk da si has uridak chipkan chupt urit matamo shoihi mat haba bamoi da ko apim tana adam humachkam ka hamo mo iko ida man ya hus haichu biak amamwe ko si has haichu ma bumsa moi kamachkam BC samichud ida ha atam konarik bo si has haichu mat boy oju ko aboy hanye mat pabay ojojeni go uki kam ko boy ai im ko bo ma was up mat hasi masma mo aboy shop ida nan ko imas ma haichu bo mo shai machap up kudut ka hamo masha boy hukam bocheta manya pukio kai mamta ba ju kama wadarta hugodam nyak hugodam gukata tai higi
Skuk dash don autumn nation ani upchugit Ned Norris Jr. Homot chairman ia don autumn nation amajit wauker chukshan churshai community. I just wanted to thank KOHH for the opportunity to share some thoughts with you and talk about some issues that we've been faced with here on the nation. And just wanted to also start with letting you know that it's been a privilege, it's been an honor, It's been a very rewarding experience to be able to serve the nation and serve the people in capacity as chairman of the nation. It's been I held my first job here on the nation in 1977, I believe it was. My first job here was the assistant director for the children's home. And since then, I've been somewhere here on the nation, served not only as assistant director of a children's home, but also served as one of the tribal judges. I was one of the tribal judges here for about 14 years. Served as the children's court judge, served as an adult court judge, and the last 6 years of my term as in the courts was serving as the chief judge for the judicial branch. Also, I spent some time working as the assistant director for social services back when we had social services and the health programs were separate. And then also served about a little over 10 years as the at the gaming enterprise. When we opened Desert Diamond Casino, I had the opportunity to leave my role in the tribal government and work for the gaming enterprise to help establish that business. And that experience has been a very rewarding experience, something that I've cherished, will cherish for the rest of my life. But it's been like I said, it's been an honor, it's been a privilege, it's been very everything a job should be. I've always commented over the years that a job that you have, you get frustrated with some of your jobs, you get excited about your jobs, you get challenged with the jobs that you do, and this serving in the capacity as chair for the nation has really proven to be a very rewarding but also exciting opportunity, not only for me but also for the nation as well. And so with that, just wanted to thank the nation's membership, thank the nation for giving me this opportunity, because if it wasn't for the nation, I wouldn't have had this opportunity to be able to serve. Also, that the Vice Chairwoman and I are looking forward to being able to continue our service in some capacity, continue our service as chair and vice chair of the nation. But as we know, that decision is really up to the people that are going to go out and vote. And we would encourage you to go out and cast your votes and vote for the candidates that you believe are going to be able to continue to move the nation in a positive way, continue to represent the nation with the highest of integrity, to be able to represent the nation not only on the nation but also off the nation as well. As you know, we have challenges outside of our own boundaries here on the nation that the chair and the vice chair have a responsibility to ensure are protected. Our sovereignty is being challenged, our rights are being challenged by outside entities, and we need leadership in these offices that are going to be able to represent this nation in a very positive, forceful way that is going to protect what we have the right to be able to do, going to be able to protect our sovereignty. And Vice Chairwoman Romero and I have demonstrated our ability, our capabilities of being able to make sure that the nation is protected, not only within but also outside of the nation as well. And we look forward to the opportunity to be able to continue to do that. Some of the things that I wanted to share with you is just to kind of go back and highlight some of the activities that under our administration we've been able to work with during the past 4 years. As you may know, and I believe as the Vice Chairwoman had also explained that when we think about the kind of government that the nation has, I spent 38 years working for the nation somewhere, and I can remember the time when the nation was operating under the old Constitution, the old 1937 Constitution. And under that Constitution, we really had one supreme authority, I'll call it, and that supreme authority was the Tribal Council. Many times under the old Constitution, the council ended up being not only the legislative branch, but also the executive branch, and sometimes even the judicial branch. And when we adopted this new Constitution in 1986, what we did was we established what's referred to as a separation of powers form of government. And it's really identical to and similar to the United States Constitution, where you have your three branches of government: your legislative, your executive, and your judicial branches. And so what I'd like to just do is talk a little bit about the executive branch and what the vice chairwoman and I have been able to accomplish during our 4 years of leadership. But I also like to explain that under the executive branch, there are a number of departments that we have a primary responsibility for. And that would be the Department of Education, the Department of Human Services, the Department of Membership Services, the Department of Natural Resources, Department of Planning and Economic Development, Department of Public Safety, Department of Water Resources, Department of Human Resources, the Office of the Attorney General, the Office of Treasurer, and the Tohono Gaming Office. And each one of those departments has an executive director or an attorney general or a treasurer that the vice chairwoman and I have the responsibility to appoint as a political appointee to head and lead those particular departments. And so we wanted just to highlight some of the things that have been going on with regards to some of these departments. I know we don't have a lot of time here to go into a lot of detail, but just wanted to highlight a few of them. Just want to talk a little bit about gaming. The nation established the Tohono Gaming Office pursuant to its authority under the Legislative Council's authority to establish the nation's right to game, to create casino games for the benefit of the nation's members. And out of that establishment of the gaming operations, we have to have some way to regulate the gaming activities on the nation. And as a result, the Legislative Council established what's called the Tohono Gaming Office. And that the functions or the primary responsibility of the gaming office is really to make sure that we are appropriately operating all of our gaming facilities in accordance with the compact that the tribe signed with the state of Arizona, in accordance with the Indian Gaming and Regulatory Act, also in accordance with the gaming laws that the Legislative Council adopted that govern how our gaming operations are going to be run, or are going to be regulated. And so they have a very definite and very, very huge amount of responsibility to make sure that we are operating our gaming operations in accordance with the law, whether that's the federal law, whether it's the state compact, or whether it's tribal law. And so there's an enormous amount of responsibility because, as we know, the gaming enterprise provides a considerable amount of revenue to the nation, and has been really our primary source of revenue for several years now. But just some of the things that the gaming office has been able to accomplish, some of the long range activities that they've done. There are what's called internal controls that are required under the National Indian Gaming Commission and the compact, and much of the internal controls really go to the detailed regulatory responsibility of the gaming office for our gaming operations. And one of the major accomplishments in addressing the internal controls was that the gaming office has been able to update and implement an updated internal controls policies and procedures in order to be able to make sure our gaming operation is operating accordingly. Also, a lot of time has been spent on their regulatory responsibilities to get ready for the regulating the nation's West Valley Resort operation once we get up and running. Much of their activity has been involved in strategic planning, including the need for an interim budget and how they're going to make sure that their regulatory responsibilities that not only include our Desert Diamond Casino at Pima Mine Road, Desert Diamond Casino on Nogales Highway, or Golden Hashan Casino, but also how are those regulatory responsibilities going to be ensured once the nation's ready to open and operate the West Valley Resort Casino. Also, a lot of time and effort has been made in reorganizing some of the key regulatory units under the gaming office to ensure that the regulatory process is adhered to and streamlined. So there's obviously a huge amount of responsibility that this office has to make sure that we are in total compliance with the federal statutes, the federal internal control statute or policies and procedures, as well as the state gaming compact and the nation's gaming laws as well. But another area that I wanted to touch on has to do with the Department of Public Safety. And there's some ideas that have been developing over the years about how we wanted to implement or at least bring youth into the idea of taking an interest in law enforcement or corrections, and one of the short-term accomplishments that the Department of Public Safety, specifically the police department, has been able to achieve was that they were able to implement a youth mentor program, which is something that has been done over previous years, but they've really been able to fully implement it and get it structured and really get a good youth mentor program in hopes that we'll be able to groom young autumn men and women to take an interest in law enforcement and help prepare them for assuming some of the law enforcement duties and responsibilities. Some of the long-term things that the Department of Public Safety has been able to do, specifically the police department, has been able to establish memorandums of understanding with other law enforcement entities, or memorandum or intergovernmental agreements with some of the surrounding law enforcement entities, where they would work hand in hand and have a written understanding as to how other law enforcement entities were going to be able to provide some services in the event it is necessary or needed or called upon by the tribal police department. One of the other big accomplishments that the department has been able to initiate and to implement is what's called a high intensity drug trafficking areas, or as they call it, HIDTA. It's really a Native American targeted investigations on violent enterprises task force, and this Native task force that really has had an impact on addressing border crimes and drug trafficking, not only within the police department but also in coordination and cooperation with the border patrol, as well as the in customs enforcement agencies. As a result of implementing this Native program, Natives' efforts have really led to a number of arrests, 41 search warrants, 160 arrests, 33 firearms were seized, cash that was being used or used as a in the drug trafficking business has been confiscated, and numerous pounds and quantities of illegal drugs have been able to be taken off the streets, taken off the nation, and folks been prosecuted and addressed in law enforcement program or through the law enforcement. Also, the establishment of the animal control program. As we know, some years back, the Legislative Council adopted an animal control ordinance, and a lot of that had to do with putting together a program that not only has the responsibility to enforce the animal control ordinance, but also the responsibility to make sure that those dangerous animals, in some cases, illegal animals that might be out there, are able to be being addressed, and the enforcement of the ordinance is making sure that it's being enforced as well. So some of the other things that I want to talk about with regards to law enforcement has to do with the fire department. It's always a challenge to try and get our nation's members involved in whether it's law enforcement or even take an interest and be prepared for assuming firefighter roles within the nation. But some of the personnel, we've been able to graduate some 10 firefighters and added those 10 firefighters to the fire department here on the nation. Also, being able to have these officers certified as certified firefighters for the nation, and their primary responsibility is to provide 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service and respond to different fires, provide medical attention or medical aid, provide educational awareness to communities and to nation's members on some of the things that they can do to prevent some of the fires that unfortunately do happen here on the nation. But I'd really like to go into a lot more detail about that, but in the interest of time, I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of the things that has been going on with respect to water, the nation's water resources department. A lot of what when the nation established what's called the Water Resources Department, they came in established, and they had very little. There was really no codes that was going to govern how the Water Resources Department was going to operate. But since the implementation or the establishment of the Water Resources Department and working with the Legislative Council, there has been the ability to adopt a water code for the nation. And once that water code was adopted and approved by the nation's government, the Water Resources Department had the primary responsibility of implementing that water code. And there's a lot that is needed in order for the water code to be implemented. There were processes and procedures that needed to be established. There was applications that needed to be developed. There was permitting forms that needed to be developed, and really needed to do an assessment of what the current water situation was for the nation. And so a lot of effort has been put to making sure that the water code is being fully implemented. Some of the long-term things that the Water Resources Department has been working on. One of the things is necessary is to develop a nation's water management plan. And a lot has been done in completing the framework to begin developing the nation's water management plan. That is something that is required under the Water Code. The plan would include information from water basin reports and water balances model, and just for our current use and for future generations. It's really important for the nation to have a very clear and understanding knowledge of what the water, the groundwater situation availability is for future generations of our existence here on the nation here. And so a lot of the effort has been worked towards developing that water management plan so that we have a clear understanding of how we're going to manage what water we do have. Speaking of water, I did want to say that much time and efforts has been around the idea that a lot of times folks out there think that the nation settled its water settlements with the United States government when the nation settled the Southern Arizona Water Rights Settlement Act. And that was done years ago, or even the Arizona Water Settlement Act. Well, that those particular settlements didn't settle the entire nation's water rights. One of the things that has been efforts in the past that has been looked at was settling other water rights that the nation currently has that haven't been settled. And so what we've been able to do is we've been able to, in working with the Legislative Water Resources Committee, has been able to revitalize the effort to address the Sifoidic water settlement claim, which doesn't just involve Sifoidic. It involves the other areas within the nation that are within the Gila River water basin, which includes some portions of the Hikuan district, some portions of the Gaachi district, some portions of the obviously the Sifoidic South district and Shukthoak district. And when we started revising or revamping the efforts to address the Sifoidic water settlement claim, one of the requirements on us was that we needed to, if we're going to address this, we needed the federal entities were telling us if we were going to address this, then they wanted us to develop a comprehensive water settlement. They didn't want to piecemeal any pending settlements that the nation had an interest in settling. And so we have been working with the federal negotiations team to develop a comprehensive water settlement so that way when the nation is ready to file its claim against the United States government, it includes all of those areas that still have outstanding water settlements that the nation is entitled to. One of the things that we said to them when we talked about a comprehensive water settlement was, well, if you want, telling the federal entities that if you want us to work towards a comprehensive settlement, then you need to take into consideration what international water rights that the nation may be entitled to. And, they kind of threw them off guard when we brought that up because they kind of looked at us like, well, what are you talking about? Well, all of us know here on the nation that the Vomri Wash, has a considerable amount of water that comes through in and out of that wash every year during the monsoon period of time. And we know that that wash, begins in Mexico and makes its way north and bends around west and then goes back out south into Mexico in the Chukotkuk district. And so we said to the federal negotiators that if we're going to have us do a comprehensive settlement, then you also need to take into consideration what international water rights the nation may be entitled to, and that we needed to make sure that those international water rights that we are entitled to are also addressed in this comprehensive plan. So that that's one of the things that we've been working on as well. In one of the other things that with regards to Sephardic district was developing a farm plan for a new farm in the Sephardic district, and happy to say that that plan would address about 8,000 acre feet of allocation of cap water in the Sephardic district, and I'm happy to report that the farm plan has been completed and it has been approved by the Sephardic district. The next step in that process is to present that to the Legislative Council, and once approved by the Legislative Council, then transmit that water plan to the Bureau of Reclamation. In the little bit of time that I have left, I wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the West Valley Resort, and more specifically because there's a lot of talk out there that the nation is spending a lot of money on litigating our rights and protecting our rights with regards to developing the West Valley Resort. But I also know that we very periodically go out to the districts to give the districts an update on what the status of that particular project is at, where it's at, and so on and so forth. In those updates, we have continuously let the districts know that folks believe that some folks out there believe that the nation is spending the memberships per cap on defending our right with regards to the West Valley Resort. And, I've responded by saying, I can honestly stand up and tell you that the nation has not tapped into the gaming savings for the purposes of litigating the West Valley Resort project. That the funds that we have been using are funds that are already allocated under the gaming formula distribution, and it's that portion of money that's allocated to the government, the three-branch government, that makes up our budgets for the year, that have really been where those funds have come from. And the fact that the nation or the executive office or the myself as chairman and or the vice chairwoman, we don't have any authority to go into that fund to begin with, and that we need to that only authority there to be able to do that is the Legislative Council, and we're respectful of that, and we wanted to make sure that was clarified with the listeners. In the minute that I have left, I just wanted to thank again the opportunity to be able to share some of these things, and there's a lot more yet that can be shared, and we look forward to continuing our leadership for the nation, for the peoples that we have the responsibility to represent. And I would just like to leave with a song. I've spent some time over time here and have tried to educate myself about some of our language, our Himadak, and our song, and I'm going to share an Eagle song with you at this time. Ba-a-ki-yo when you say hun you chu ma ken you po mo Ba-a-ki-yo when you say hun you chu ma ken you po mo Joe wed the win I could the dama ma him ka pan you da he Aji to wanya damanya nyua pakamanyu hiju Kupia podaha damonyo nyui mamatoka Ba-a-ki-yo when you say hun you ch-ch ma kin you bo-mo ho. Ba-a-ki-yo when you say hun you ch-ch ma kin you bo-mo ho. Juweda no ikuda dama mahima kapanye dahi. Aji dawanya damanya nyuapa kamanyu hiju.
Ramkai, Tohono Nation, Anya Chugit, Verlin Jose, Guamjik, Cook, Chukut Cook, Chukshan. My name is Verlin Jose. I come from the community of Cook, also known as Tekaloti in Chukut Cook District. I'm here to share with you a little bit about why Edward Manuel and I, Verlin Jose, are running for chairman and vice chair of the Tohono Nation. People have come to us 4 years ago and prior to that asking us to run for the chairman of the Tohono Nation. 4 years ago, we didn't take that opportunity. This year, we decided to answer the call of the people. Therefore, we want to share our message to Aham, Humichkam. We need change, but not change others may think that we're wanting to do. We need expansion and improved services in order to provide more hope and opportunity for our people. To get there, we do need new leadership. The hopes and the dreams now depend on high-paid consultants, lobbyists, public relations experts. The reason why we share that is that you all are familiar with some of the things that the nation is dealing with. So we have to look at how do we deliver those services? How do we continue the resources coming in for the nation? Edward Manuel and Berlin Jose, we believe that we have some ideas to bring to the forefront, to bring to the table. And that's why we chose to take this opportunity for the people. Autumn Hujit. It has become an epic battle between our sister tribes, one that threatens all tribes. There's some issues out there at hand, and we need to talk with one another. Sometimes we believe that we get too caught up by outside resources. We believe that we need to have some true leadership, tribal leadership to leadership discussion. Outsiders have been driving the fight at an unprecedented cost, not only to the Tohono, but more so to our Atahajan, our sister tribes. So that is a thing that's very important and foremost on our radar that we need to look at. It's a political cost to our nation and all Arizona tribes. So there are some major things that are going on. There's a bill in Congress that I understand have passed the committee levels and maybe go to the full Congress. The state of Arizona, we need to deal with them. More so, I think we need to deal with our relatives, our sister tribes, so that we can come to some common ground. However, there are pressing needs at home that need to be addressed. Our people still need quality jobs, decent housing, and education that meets the needs of our changing economy. We need to continue to protect our natural resources, our water rights, our borders, our people. In 1995, there was a plan, one that resulted in the museum, KOHN, the college, the nursing home, the Westside Clinic, the Department of Information Technology, etc. This resulted in substantial job creation for the Tohono Nation. Edward Manuel and Berlin Jose, we have a plan, one that will provide for our people. Autumn values, with him, our culture, our traditions, should be our guiding principles. Tias haitu with him, we can't forget those things. With nyok, with nyetny, with ceremonies, with hajjan, with famira, all those things that is our foundation. You know, things just don't happen. Things are made to happen. Edward Manuel and Berlin Jose, we want to make things happen. We want to make things happen for the benefit of our people. And that takes leadership. Leadership with a vision. One that understands the needs of our people. That takes planning and management to effectively manage the resource, the departments, the services that we have out there. The people's voice must be heard. Most importantly, we need quality health care. Quality health care is a must. One that addresses the diseases of our people. Our people are faced with diabetes, obesity, cancer, heart disease, dialysis, etc. Could go on and on and on. What's most concerning is that our nation needs to take on the issues that we're faced with when it comes to healthcare. Maybe that's exploring what it is to explore the opportunity of taking ownership of our health concerns on our hospitals and our clinics on the Tohono Nation. If that constitutes as taking over our healthcare facilities to be incorporated and be run as a business so we can provide quality health care. However, any takeover, there has to be a plan. One that has been provided to the people. We need to assure continuity of care. Healthcare requires leadership and providers with great experience. We have a lot of great people out there that are employed by various entities out there. We must recruit the best of the best, the brightest, those that can provide long-term commitment to understand and conquer the diseases and the medical issues that we face. You know, for far too long, we see our medical doctors, then they change, and we got to start all over again. There have been some doctors that have been here for a long, long time. We're not saying we have to reinvent the wheel. We're saying that we need to make some assessments. We need to take ownership of some of these things. Edward Manuel and Berlin Jose, you know, we have proven successful leadership and experience. In short, Edward Manuel has a total of 10 years serving in the Legislative Council for Pacific District. He served as the nation's chairman for 8 years, worked in the nation's planning department for 5 years, Pacific District Council vice chairman and chairman for 4 years. He was employed at Lakeshore Mine for 8 years, and is also a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, 1969 to 1971. Myself, Berlin Jose, I had the honor of serving as Chukuku District Chairman, completing the 4 years here. Served as Chukotka District Legislative Representative for 8 years. Been a school board member for Barbecue Unified School District for 6 years. President of the Barbecue Unified School District for 4 years. I worked at the Attorney General's office for the Tohono Nation for 8 years. I practiced in the tribal court here for a couple of years. I served as a Chukotka District Council representative. I also been trying to further my education through business college, also attending Pima Community College, Phoenix College, Tohono Community College. Some of my focuses were in Indian law, judicial studies, history, and Native American studies. But this just to mention a few of some of the things that we bring to the table. As we've been asked to run for the chairman and the vice chair of the Tohono Nation, Edward called me and he asked me, did you find a running mate? I said, a running mate for what? He said, aren't you running for chairman of the Tohono Nation? I kind of laughed. I told him, well, no, I didn't say that. I did say that people were asking me to. I did say that I thought about it, but I never made a commitment to run. My district council was asking, Chukotka District Council was asking me, what are you going to do? Are you going to run as the district chairman again? Are you going to run for the legislative council? Are you run for the chairman of the nation? I said, well, I'm not sure just yet. So, long story short, Edward called me. One of the things that we've been sharing out there that stands out a lot is when Edward called me and asked me to be his running mate, he said, or do you want to be the chair and I be the vice chair? Or I be the chair and you be the vice? And I told Edward, Edward, it's not really about the title. It's about the work. It's about the work that we need to do for the people. Whether I'm the chair or you're the chair, or I'm the vice or you're the vice, what matters is that we have to have one vision, one voice, that we have to have that sincere dedication and commitment to serve the people. We will be representing 30-some thousand members of the Tohono Nation. So that particular statement and comment from Mr. Edward Manuel, I think about it all the time because he was willing to give up and to say, okay, you be the chair and I'll be the vice. Many people have said, you should be the chair. And vice versa. But you know what? We say we're Team Manuel and Jose, and that's what we are. We are a team. We are a team that will represent to the best of our abilities. People have said, what are you going to promise us? What are you going to give us if we put you as chair, if we put you in office? And we've said, we can't promise you anything. Well, what we can promise you is our hard work, our dedication, our commitment to serve the people. Edward has said, I really didn't want to campaign because that's just not his thing. But yet, others said, you need to get the word out there. One of the things I said that, if our track record doesn't speak for itself, then I don't know what else does. We've been around. We have not gone nowhere. We have been serving the people. Somebody said just the other day, I hope you're not afraid to get your feet wet or your hands dirty. Believe me, we have done that. We have walked the back roads. We have walked the desert. We have done things, other than sit behind a desk. And we're proud to say that. It's not beneath us to pick up a broom or a mop or empty a trash. It's all part of being a team. So when we took this opportunity, that's the vision that we thought right away. We said, for the people, Team Manuel and Jose. And I want to tell you that this campaign has been very interesting because we got questioned. Who funds your campaign? Well, we do. The people do. It's been totally a campaign of the people. for the people. And we're very thankful for that. So there are a lot of issues out there that we have. We talk about our core values, our principles. In order to be a sustainable government, in order to be a sustainable nation, we need to build upon something. We need to have a foundation. And I can tell you from my personal experience, before I started taking these endeavors on on serving the people, I had to build my foundation. And it wasn't very hard. I just had to go back and realize and accept and build upon some of the things that I've already been taught. So when Team Manuel Jose comes forward, it was a no-brainer. In order for us to be successful, in order for us to be a sustainable government, we have to build a strong foundation for the people. So we talk about our core values with HIMDA, education, economic development, our health, our housing, and our natural resources. When we talk about HIMDA, one of our core values, that is who we are. It's awesome. Tohono. Before we want to be doctors, before we want to be lawyers, before we want to be scientists or whatever, we have to be awesome. This is who I am. This is who we are. We can have whatever title we want, but we have to be awesome first. And I share that with a lot of people that we give presentations to. No matter what nationality you come from, no matter what tribe you come from, you have to be proud of who you are. No matter what God has given you, however you're built, however you look, that's what God gave you. That's what we have to do as a nation. We have to build upon our foundation that Istoy has given us. With Himada, with Nyetni, with Nyoak, with ceremonies, with Humachkam. We are communal people. I always share this with my family and my community that we used to go to people's homes, our relatives, and we knock on the door and they say, "Hey, Iwak, come on in, I'll get you some water. Start the beans." So much you knock on the door and they crack it open just a little bit and say, "What do you want?" Or they look, some of those people have those little holes on their doors and they look through and they say, "Hey, don't answer, that's Verlin." "Be quiet, knock on it, that's Verlin at the door, you probably want something." But we got to go back to those ways. We got to go back to those ways of opening those doors and having those communications. And I share with my family, I say, technology, we have all this technology at our fingertips. And it's supposed to make it easier to communicate. Now we don't even talk. We don't even talk to each other. Did you get my email? Did you get my text? I check Facebook. Somebody said, "I know if I Facebook my daughter, I know she'll respond to me." We don't even talk anymore, person to person. And my grandson, my 8-year-old grandson he said, "Grandpa, we need to have a rule." I said, "Okay, what's the rule?" "When we have dinner, no phones." I said, "Great, I think that's a great rule." Our kids, they know. They know these things. They're smart. My grandfather used to say that when we're born, we're the smartest that we ever need to be. We know everything that we need to know. It's society that teaches on how we are and who we are and what we know. Medical professionals will tell you that we don't even use half of our brain. How do we embrace that knowledge that we have? I think we go back to our basic with him that Ito had said, "Do all these things and things will be right. If you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will take care of you." You know what? We're not doing those things. We're beginning to. The young people want to learn. The young people want to know. And we need to share those things. Just recently, in the community, there was wonderful event that went on. And I was surprised at the many people that come out. I hope more of those things continue to happen. That is who we are. That is what we're about. So we need to build upon those things. Our way of life. Now we have to deal with many years of historical trauma. Because throughout history, our people were taken away to boarding schools and forbidden not to talk in their language and cut their hair. A lot of native people, that their hair was their strength, and they felt that when they cut their hair, they cut their strength out. When I was growing up, I used to have a flat top haircut all the time. And I said, man, whenever I get a chance, I'm going to let my hair grow long. My dad used to always cut our hair, and I let my hair grow long. I had to cut it one time because I couldn't, well, anyway, that's a long story there, but, it's really something when you think about the history that our people have gone through. The relocation. Many of our people are relocated for jobs to assimilate them into America, Americanize them. And they lost that touch, or they kind of lost, they didn't lose it, they just came disconnected from their language and their customary practices. But yet when we talk about that, we can still go back and get that. Maybe not how it was done way before, but at least we still have it. And when they talk about the nation being a impoverished nation, that we live in poverty, I said in some people's eyes we may live in poverty, but we are some of the richest people around. We may not have a lot of money, but we have a lot of culture. We have a lot of our customs and traditions that a lot of people have lost. That we can still stand on. Those things we're rich in, and we should be proud of them. So we build upon that principal value of Athimadak. We build upon that, we'll have part of our foundation. One of our other core values is our education. With Mashmakut. Our schools, we need to build upon those, whether it's a public school, a BIE school, a charter school, a religious school. We're all in the same business of providing education to our students. How do we work together? Right now it's those guys and us, and it needs to be about we and bring all this together. Our nation has an education department. How do we utilize that as a tool, as a mechanism to bring everything together? I have the honor and privilege of serving on the governing board of the Barbecue Unified School District 6 years ago. Our schools were going to be taken over by the state, and we had to do something. And one of the things that I said is that we have to have the buy-in from the people. If we don't have the buy-in from the people, then we're going to have a tough job. We're going to have a tough job, but that's what we did. That's what we did. We went out there, and not everybody may be in agreement, not everybody may be in support, but you know what? It's the people that came up and did what they needed to do, supported their students. That's what we need to do as a nation. There are some great things that are going on right now. There are some good things that the departments and programs are doing right now. How do we enhance those things to deliver the service to the people? This radio station is a good example. Actually, my son and I used to be volunteer DJs out here. And I'm looking at it right now, I'm like, wow, this is totally awesome. I haven't been here for a long time. But we talk about enhancement. We talk about making things better. And this is what we need to continue to do for the people. We need to continue to enhance our departments and programs. We need to support them through education, through this radio station. When we talk about education, we talk about in a holistic way. We talk about traditional education. We talk about family education, health education, education for our elders. education for those that may have been out of the education system for a while that want to go back.
This is Edward Manuel, running for chairman of the Tohono Nation, and I'm here with the Verlin Jose. I want to thank him for starting out the platform for us. I just came back from the great San Lucie district for doing a presentation up there, and now I'm ready to start here and give you some information as far as what we're looking at when we get in office. Verlin and I decided to run for this position. Before, why, and how we got into running together for this position of the chairman of the Tohono Nation and vice chair of the Tohono Nation. And he gave you some information already. But one of the first things that we need to do again when we get in office, back to the communities and the districts. We have to go back to the communities and the districts because we need to develop our administrative plan, one that has to be approved by council. So as we go back to the districts and communities, we'll get their input as to what we need to pursue for the next 4 years. What are some of the issues out there? What are some of the problems we need to address for the next 4 years? What are some of the projects we need to pursue? So that's one of the things. That's one of the reasons why we need to go back to get the input from the people, as far as incorporating all that information into the administrative plan, and get some direction from the people, and they'll develop our mission for the next 4 years. The other thing we wanted to find out from the people is the mission or the vision of the nation. What is the vision of the nation for the next generation? Not only for us, but for our children. And that's the direction we need to head, to pursue whatever that vision is. That's the direction we'll go. So it's a long-range plan as far as how we're going to move forward. And that's why we're saying that when we develop the administrative plan, it'll come from the people. And that's our mission that we're going to follow for the next 4 years. Some of the things that we need to follow up right away, Verlin Jose, about education, about casino, and the Himdat. Himdat is a very important part of our core values that we have. It's one of the most basic part of our core values. And everything is built on trust and respect. Trust and respect. But there are some things we need to pursue also right away. Our health. Our health care needs to be improved. Problems out in the communities like the Noipo and the districts about the problems that they're experiencing with our health care delivery system, our clinics, our hospitals, even the programs that we have under the nation. Indian Health Service. But they have to comply with federal regulations. And they only rely on federal dollars, federal appropriations every year. And because they also use population data Kitamahaki. Mo hodia mehanyin the clinics, hospitals, and all on the Kyrgyz. And they use it as a number. Mo hodia mehanyin at the hospitals. So every year they count those people that come and see the doctors, the clinic, that sign up. And that's how they get their monies. Chikitamahaki mashapkaijimo, Israel sakuin to godam, the Israel chikajik, the hospitals and the clinics. And yet we also have to serve the Higamopi come across the border that get sick, that need emergency care, that they're not on the list, they're not on the data. So Kitamahaki, much be muy need to hear from the federal government. Oya Shasati Gamawit, Indian Health Service to provide health care for everyone. Chikitamaki, Shatamatman Baiti Tapoi image and get more monies as well as utilize all the resources that we have on the nation. Matamoy Hawum, Hugamotachik health care. Chikapag, Machapaj Matabosi Inye. Shatamatma Mokaudi Joy the healthcare delivery. Machapihai Shani the tribes, Matasmatma Nibik healthcare delivery system. Amakaudi Jo, and Baiti Ratapi Homachkum. Paskoyaki Matama 638 the healthcare. And they incorporated alternative medicine, Mobag, which is traditional medicine. Hila River Matapahaba Jo Matanajari Bega healthcare delivery system. And they made it a corporation, Kamujaramut, on its own. And they hired their own doctors and their own nurses, their own healthcare team. How can we get quality people, nurses and doctors? In the military, the interns. The professionals. Healthcare. That's one of the areas they were looking at. Ita tamahakin no pi musia kamar. Piapa muy hawumach. Mo pama kaya matram chumani. Tramia chiska pio samma mua tuhum. Troy repaiti mumkut. Namu pani up the next day. Tramia chiska kamai mak pios. Mu pa the Troy repaiti pi mumkut mohai bui Hila River. Tramai komhan chiska kabag charagmat so surgery. If you had waited another day, you may not have made it. He thought Hamahaki mom up tree. Machamoik Pakamo, Matma Matami Hawuma. Take him at the Motapi Jogi. Our health care, Tamati Matma Motapi Jo. Matihai to Rao Habamja Tiki. How we're looking at it. But again, we have to work with the other branches of the government, especially the legislative branch. The healthcare system. Hai cho mo po na the core values mo chapkai mo that health. And then there's also the education, but also economic development, jobs. I'm up to it. That's one of the things we have to work on. You start planning ahead. Short-range plan, long-range plan. And what kind of jobs are we going to bring into the nation? Right now, we just have the casinos. But still, to the nation. Around us. There's a lot of work and a lot of planning going on in the surrounding communities. Phoenix and Tucson, the state of Arizona, they're always planning 50 years ahead, 25 years ahead. And they're working on those plans, just like Highway 86, going to become a major route pretty soon. Once they finish the port they're working on in Rocky Point, the Tucson traffic is going to use it to export their products. How are we planning to utilize that market that's going to go through here on 86? Do we have plans? Are we working on some kind of plans as a nation, as districts? That needs to happen right now if we are to catch up with the rest of the state of Arizona. We need to start planning long-term on our economic development opportunities. But we also need to work on establishing some kind of a system here on the nation so that everybody will know the laws we have as far as commerce is concerned. We need to have a commercial code. So when businesses come in, they know exactly what our laws are as far as business. We need to have our planning department work on comprehensive land use plan. So the districts and the nation will know exactly where economic development is going to occur in the districts, on the nation. We need to have that in place. Even outside businesses that want to come onto the nation will know exactly where those locations are at. So that's one of the things we need to work on. Planning how to deliver this economic development on the nation. There are many organizations out there, businesses out there, that want to come to the nation. They're looking for land. But now that we don't have those identified here on the nation, it's hard for us because we have to go through a whole process for approval. We have to go through a whole process for surveys, environmental. So it's a long process. If we had done all those planning already and done our approval process and our environmentals already, then all we need to do is look for businesses to locate here on the nation. But any business that comes to the nation has to be appropriate to our way of life. It has to be environmentally safe to us as Autumn, or to our lands as well. Housing is another area. We say that our home is the most important part of our lives. It is our security. It's our protector, our safety net. But most importantly, it's our castle. There's a housing need right now from our membership. The nation must make every effort to provide that opportunity for housing to every head of household here on the nation and off the nation as well. We have to make every effort to utilize all our resources on and off the nation to secure funding and to obtain all available housing programs that we can find out there in the housing market. We have to work on the infrastructure needs, the water, sewer, electric, road. Those are major costs to housing development. So the nation must look for funding to enhance that infrastructure needs for our housing development. And that needs to happen in all the districts. In that way, hopefully, or reduce the cost even for federal dollars that come into the nation. Because right now, it's very difficult for hot dollars when you start using it for infrastructure. Then there's no money to build the homes. Our natural resources. We have our himda. We have our health, our housing. But we also need to have that land base. And we also need to protect those resources on that land. Our animals, our plants, our wildlife. All those things that need to be taken care of for the future generations that are coming, our children, and their children's children. We have to take care of this land. We have to take care of this earth for their sake. Do it. It's for those future generations. Our forefathers. They took care of this land. They respected the land. They respected everything on the land. The animals. Even those wildlife that we hunt. When you make a kill, Tumahagi, macam siapa dia kai contoh, kerja pinapai tu tragedi. Kamu cuci magi. So we need to protect our wildlife. Climate change is happening. And that's going to be one of our greatest challenges we're going to have to be faced with. How do we address climate change? Tsunamis are happening. Hurricanes, California, they never had hurricanes. Now they're having it. And the seasons are changing because of that. Kaudi cho him hay chu. So tambay ktiori. So epit nakoma. So ui ktiori not persi so tambay. Verlin still have his bucket empty. Pahita jabo per jot per. Looks mat bab so tamo bay. So everything's changing. Around us. Animals about mathematics. Why? And we still need to work with the Border Patrol. How they're damaging our lands, our resources out there, the plants, the animals. So how do we maintain that homeland secure? To secure the international boundary. We need to take a look at that. On our land. Our roads, building new roads. Cutting fences, cutting fences. So those are some of the things we need to take a look at. Our natural resources. And that climate change. Educate our people. Why it's happening and how we need to use our resources wisely. That has to happen. The education on that has to happen. So these are just some of the things as far as core values, core values, kita, tatoaka, timda. Wursa ita teki mataposi ini. If you think about it, housing. If your house is substandard, cold in the winter, hot in the summer, people may not be well. Deals with health problems. People may not have a job to fix their house. They don't have the money, the resources to fix it. So it all ties together. Housing, economic development, education. Some have jobs because of education. They need training. Some kind of training. Not just a degree. The scholarship program that was put in place. But I think we need to move forward and start planning how we're going to utilize not just our natural resources, not our human resources, but our educational resources that we now have. Because more graduates that they can't get a job here on the nation. So these are just some of the things we're looking at. I think we're running out of time here. Here in the Boshamak, Verlan Jose, who's running for vice chair. Tamaika Botachi, my close out our program here.
Tohono Nation, thank you for giving us this opportunity to run for chairman and vice chairman of the Tohono Nation. We encourage you to vote on May 23rd, 2015. Vote for somebody. That is your constitutional right. Thank you to KOHN for giving us this opportunity, and we wish the best to the other candidates, also the candidates for the district chairs and legislative council, everybody that's running up there. They're taking this step. If you have any questions, contact us forthepeople.manuel.jose@gmail.com. Visit on Facebook or Twitter. Thank you. George and Hoygut.